The morning sun cast golden rays through the windows of Riverside Academy. 17-year-old Emily was buzzing with excitement, preparing for the annual field trip to the ancient Whispering Mountains. She had this innocent beauty that just seemed to radiate from within. Her kind eyes reflected a pure soul, and her gentle nature made everyone adore her. "Stay with your group, Emily." Her father, Thomas, had warned her that morning. You see, Thomas wasn't just any dad. He was the bravest warrior in the village, a man who had defended their town from countless threats. His face was weathered from years of battle, but his eyes always softened when he looked at his beloved daughter. The students began their hike, their laughter echoing through the misty trails and across the valleys. Emily, always a bit of a dreamer, wandered slightly ahead of her group, completely captivated by a rare, shimmering blue flower growing near a cave entrance. She knelt down to get a closer look, completely unaware of the ancient eyes watching her from the darkness within. Suddenly, the ground beneath her began to tremble violently. A magnificent dragon emerged from the cave, its scales shimmering like 1,000 emeralds, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly intelligence. This was Drakon, a creature of myth and legend, who had lived for centuries in solitude. But the moment his gaze fell upon Emily, something completely unprecedented happened. Her innocence, her pure heart, her gentle beauty, it all struck a chord deep within his ancient, dormant soul. Emily gasped and stumbled backward, her heart pounding in her chest. But to her surprise, Drakon made no aggressive move. Instead, he slowly lowered his massive head, studying her with a curious fascination she could never have imagined. The other students, seeing the colossal beast, screamed in terror and fled down the mountain. But Emily found herself frozen, not entirely from fear, but from the unexpected gentleness she saw in the creature's ancient eyes. "You are different from the others," Drakon's voice rumbled, sounding like distant rolling thunder. "Your spirit, it shines brighter than any treasure I have ever guarded." Before Emily could even think of a response, her teachers grabbed her, pulling her away and rushing all the students back towards the safety of the village. But for Drakon, something had fundamentally changed. His heart, dormant for centuries, had awakened. He watched her disappear down the mountain path, and for the first time in his long, lonely existence, he felt an overwhelming, undeniable desire to follow. As night fell over the valley, Drakon made a decision that would alter the course of destiny. He spread his mighty leathery wings and launched himself into the starlit sky, following the lingering scent of innocence and purity that had so completely captivated him. He soared high above, his obsession growing stronger with each passing moment as he tracked Emily's path through villages and dark forests. The dragon's massive shadow passed over the town as he finally located her home, a modest, cozy cottage on the village outskirts. He landed as silently as a falling leaf in the garden, his colossal form hidden by the darkness. He peered through the windows until he found her room. There she was. Emily sat reading by candlelight, her face illuminated by the soft glow, completely unaware that the ancient dragon had followed her all the way home, driven by an impossible, forbidden love that was destined to bring tragedy to them all. The next morning, the village was in an uproar. News of the dragon sighting had spread like wildfire. Thomas, ever the protector, immediately began organizing the village warriors. "We must hunt it down before it harms anyone," he declared, his voice firm, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. Emily's heart sank. She remembered the gentleness in Drakon's eyes and felt a strange sense of unease. Could everyone be wrong about him? That evening, as she sat in her room, a low rumble vibrated through the floorboards. She looked out her window and saw him. Drakon was back, his emerald scales glowing faintly in the moonlight. He hadn't come to cause harm. He had brought her a gift, the rare blue flower from the mountain, its petals still fresh and vibrant, carefully placed on her windowsill. Night after night, this strange, silent courtship continued. Drakon would appear in the garden, leaving small, beautiful treasures for Emily. A glittering geode, a feather from a celestial bird, a branch of glowing moss. And Emily, in turn, would leave him a bowl of fresh milk or a loaf of bread. A silent, secret bond formed between the girl and the dragon, a friendship that defied all logic and law. Emily began to feel a deep affection for the lonely creature, and Drakon's obsession softened into what he could only describe as love. He was her secret friend, her silent guardian. But secrets, especially ones this big, have a way of coming out. One evening, a village guard on his late-night patrol saw the colossal shadow in the garden of the bravest warrior's house. Panic ensued. The alarm bells rang through the village, waking everyone from their sleep. Torches were lit and angry shouts filled the night air. "The beast is here. It's after the warrior's daughter." Thomas, hearing the commotion, burst out of his house, sword in hand, his face a mask of fury and fear for his daughter's safety. He saw the dragon so close to his home, so close to Emily. Without a second thought, he charged. "Father, no!" Emily screamed, running out onto the porch. "He's not hurting me. He's my friend." But her words were lost in the chaotic noise of the mob. Drakon, seeing Thomas charging at him and the angry villagers closing in, felt a surge of protective rage. He let out a deafening roar, not of aggression towards Emily, but of warning to the others. He unfurled his wings, creating a powerful gust of wind that knocked several villagers off their feet. He could have incinerated them all with a single breath, but he wouldn't. He couldn't risk hurting Emily. Instead, he looked at her, his intelligent eyes filled with a sorrow that broke her heart. He knew he had to leave. As Thomas prepared for another attack, Drakon gave Emily one last longing look before launching himself into the sky and disappearing into the darkness. The villagers cheered, celebrating their victory, but Emily just stood there, tears streaming down her face. She had lost her only true friend, and her heart ached with a profound sense of loss and injustice. The world had misunderstood him, and now he was gone forever. Or so she thought. The forbidden love between them had been exposed, and the consequences were only just beginning. The tragedy that was foretold had been set in motion, and it would soon consume them all. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you were captivated by the tale of Emily and Drakon, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more epic stories. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss what happens next. See you in the next video. Thomas arrived home late that evening, exhausted from his patrol duties. The moment he entered his gate, his warrior instincts flared. Something was terribly wrong. The air felt heavy, and an unfamiliar scent hung in the darkness. Then he saw it. Massive claw marks in his garden soil and scales glinting in the moonlight near Emily's window. "Emily," he roared, bursting through the door. His daughter emerged from her room, confused by her father's panic. Before she could speak, a thunderous crash shook the house. The wall exploded inward as Drakon's enormous head pushed through, his eyes fixed lovingly yet possessively on Emily. "I have come for you," Drakon declared, his voice filled with unnatural devotion. "You have awakened feelings I thought impossible. Come with me to my mountain where I can keep you safe, cherish you forever." "She goes nowhere with you, beast," Thomas shouted, positioning himself between the dragon and his daughter. He grabbed his legendary sword from above the fireplace, a blade that had slain countless monsters. "You will leave my daughter alone?" Drakon's expression hardened. "You cannot understand what I feel. She is precious, innocent, perfect. I will not harm her. I wish to protect her, to worship her beauty and purity. Your love is madness." Thomas bellowed. "She is my daughter, not some prize to be claimed." The battle erupted with devastating fury. Thomas charged with supernatural speed, his blade slashing across Drakon's snout. The dragon roared in pain and anger, swiping with claws that could tear through stone. Thomas rolled beneath the strike, coming up to drive his sword deep into the dragon's shoulder. Emily screamed, pressed against the far wall, watching in horror as her father fought with every ounce of his legendary skill. Thomas moved like lightning, dodging streams of fire, using his smaller size to his advantage. He struck again and again, each blow calculated and precise, but Drakon was ancient and powerful. His tail whipped around, catching Thomas in the ribs and sending him crashing through furniture. Still the warrior rose, blood streaming from his wounds, his determination unshakable. "You will not take her," Thomas gasped, launching another assault. He leaped onto Drakon's back, driving his blade toward the creature's heart. Drakon thrashed wildly, smashing through walls, but Thomas held on with dying strength. With his final reserves of power, Thomas thrust his sword deep into a vulnerable point beneath Drakon's jaw. The dragon's roar of agony shook the entire village. Thomas twisted the blade with all his remaining might, then delivered a devastating punch to Drakon's skull with his armored fist, striking the same spot repeatedly with superhuman force. Drakon's eyes rolled back. The mighty creature swayed, then collapsed with an earth-shaking crash, unconscious from the combination of his wounds and Thomas's relentless assault. Thomas fell beside the dragon, his body broken but victorious. His eyes found Emily's tear-stained face. "You're safe," he whispered, then darkness claimed him. He had given everything to protect his innocent daughter from the dragon's obsessive love. The commotion had awakened the entire village. Townspeople arrived with torches and weapons to find an impossible scene. Drakon unconscious among the ruins of Thomas's home, and the legendary warrior lying motionless, barely breathing, his body broken from the ferocious battle. "Father," Emily cried, cradling Thomas's head. The village healer rushed forward, examining the warrior's injuries with grave concern. "He's alive but barely. He's lost too much blood and suffered terrible internal injuries." The village elder, a wise woman named Margaret, assessed the situation quickly. "Chain the dragon immediately. Use the enchanted iron from the old fortress. It will hold even a creature of his power." Dozens of men worked through the night, wrapping massive chains around Drakon's unconscious form. The dragon stirred occasionally, moaning in his forced slumber, but the wounds Thomas had inflicted kept him weak. By dawn, they had constructed a reinforced prison cell in the village's ancient dungeon, a place built centuries ago to hold dangerous magical creatures. Thomas drifted in and out of consciousness for 3 days. Emily never left his side, holding his hand, praying for his recovery. When he finally opened his eyes fully, his first words were, "The dragon?" "Imprisoned, father," Emily assured him, tears of relief streaming down her face. "You defeated him." "You saved me." Thomas's hand tightened weakly around hers. "I would face 1,000 dragons for you, my precious daughter. Your innocence, your pure heart, it must be protected from those who would possess it selfishly." In the dungeon below, Drakon had awakened to his new reality. Heavy chains bound his legs, wings, and neck. The cell's walls were reinforced with magic that burned his scales when he pressed against them. Guards watched him constantly, their weapons ready. "Why?" Drakon growled to himself, his obsessive love turning to bitter confusion. "I only wanted to cherish her, to keep her beautiful spirit safe in my mountain." The village elder visited him once. "What you call love is possession," Margaret told him sternly. "That girl is not an object to be claimed or collected like your treasures. She is a human being with her own life, her own choices." Thomas understood what you could not. True love means allowing someone their freedom, even if it costs you everything. Drakon hung his head, the chains clinking. For the first time in his ancient existence, he began to understand the difference between obsession and genuine love. Thomas recovered slowly over the following weeks. Though weakened, he had survived, and his sacrifice had become legend. Emily stayed close to her father, grateful beyond words for his protection. The battle had changed her, stealing some of her innocence, but deepening her understanding of true love, the kind that protects without possessing, that sacrifices without expecting reward. Drakon remained imprisoned, a constant reminder that even the mightiest can fall when they confuse obsession with love, and that a father's love for his daughter is the most powerful force of all.